Welcome to Basketball on Figueroa, the only podcast breaking down everything happening with the Lakers, Clippers, and Sparks. I'm your host, Edwin Garcia, and joining me today, per usual, is Tor E.N. Vizir, a.k.a. Dime Dropper. Dime, how you doing, man?
Solid. Yourself?
Good. I mean, we'll get into it, but the Sparks are going through some things right now. It's like, man, it's like eating cement. You fall down and it's just rough, and that's kind of what it's been like for me. But personally going fine. I rarely feel envious of anyone. One, because it's just not a good emotion to have, and two, I do okay, so I don't have to really feel envious about too many people. But right now, a teensy bit with you, I have, because Dime, you're gonna watch a little bit of this British football over there overseas. What's going on?
Well, yes, but that is not the way I'm going. I'm going because my aunt lives there, my cousin lives there, and my roommate from college, when I was a sophomore and first went over to UMass, is from England, so I'll be able to see him as well. So I try to go over when I can, but this will only be my third time ever going in my life. Summer 2009 I went, and then winter and New Year's of 2018 going into 2019, New Year's 2019 I was there. This will be my
That's
third
cool.
time. And yeah, obviously I prefer to go during the season. And the perfect time, for me is before the NBA season, during the beginning of the Premier League season. And yeah, I'm not going to say what games I'm going to yet for the channel, but there is some crazy vlogs that are going to be coming up. Like, they're going to be so diverse, each one. You won't believe it. It won't be your typical games. It'll be crazy. I got one big one in there. I guess you can maybe guess which one that is if you guys looking at schedules, but there's going to be some crazy ones in there that people don't get the rarity of what I'm going to be able to see. So that, you get to see my folks, and it's my first time, I think, leaving California this entire year. So
Oh, wow.
away. Yeah, the entire year. I think the last time I left California was when I went to Austin, Texas, right when we got James Harden, to visit my some of my college friends that were living there. So yeah, first time leaving California all year. Excited.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it's gonna be great. I definitely hope you get that trip. Everyone needs to, especially us people who cover the NBA and W. You got to find your breaks where you can. This is probably a good one. WNBA is kind of waning out in terms of Spark stuff, and we still got a little bit to go before the NBA really kicks off. So it's a good time to be like, hey, if you're ever gonna take a timeout, this is probably a good time to do it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm an idiot. I went to Atlanta to go watch Messi in June. Remember that?
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, you did.
So I did leave the state. So that was the last flight I was on, was that Atlanta flight. Because I was like, I've definitely been in an airport more recently than I've been in an airport in 2024. So yeah, that's the only time.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, but definitely overseas first time this year would be, using the passport for real. So
this is the first time I've left the country probably since I had a wedding I went to. I believe that was the 2022 NBA season. So it was late 2021.
Right. Yeah, and I haven't used my passport in a little while. It's been a minute for me, so
I'm an idiot. I went to the World Cup.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did. You went to Qatar. That's right.
That was the last time I left the country. So damn, I keep forgetting these soccer excursions.
Dime has a life we don't live. He just can't remember how many trips he's been on and how many times he's left the beautiful state of California. Well, anyway, let's get into the action here. I mean, we have a buffet of defeat to feast on here. We have first game we're going to talk about here is Sparks Sky. Obviously, this guy we're kind of struggling going into this matchup. They've been losing some games. They went from the 7th, 8th seed to now on the outside looking in and trying to see if they can fight for a playoff spot still. Which at the beginning of the season, that sounded like a great accomplishment. And seeing how good they were, it's actually kind of flipped to a little disappointing to have dropped so many games. They should definitely be a playoff team, but of course, they went on a bad run. And in this game, Angel Reese did play, but in general, the big thing is Angel Reese is out. She has a fracture on her wrist. So, she played in this game, but is not going to continue playing. So now the Sparks are really in trouble trying to get into the playoffs, but they did beat the Sparks in this game. This guy did, winning 92-78. Dime, what were your big takeaways on this decisive win by Chicago?
Before I get into that, if you guys want to come support the show or come to the comment section, come to YouTube, please. The YouTube link is all over my Twitter. Edwin retweeted it, so please come join us on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, really helps. As far as the Chicago Sky, It's just another team, in my opinion, Edwin, and we've talked about it all season, kind of feasting on us on the interior. Camille Cardouche and Angel Reese. The one thing that they're going to do is they're going to be physical. They're going to pound you down low, make you defend without fouling. That's what they're going to do. This team does not have shooting. They have even less shooting now that they traded Marina Mabrey over to the Sun. And oh boy, going to talk about her in a little bit.
Yeah.
This was an interesting game, Edwin, because the first quarter we played so solid. And I feel like I've said that a lot recently about the Sparks, that they really hang in games. Then the fourth quarter, things just collapse. But I love the way we started this game. You know, Ray Burrell starting, De'Erica Hamby, Rakia Jackson. You put those three out there, you've got some length and size. I thought they did a great job of getting out and causing some turnovers and then getting out and running. Rakia's first two baskets were on layups on the fast break. But it was really this second quarter. And you know what was interesting to me, Edwin, was that second quarter, it felt like we went away from, like, Odyssey, for example. She played for a minute, but then she sat the last 6 minutes and 22 seconds of the first half, which I thought was just a lot because she was playing really, really solid to begin the game. And then Ray Burrell, for her second stint in the game, she came in, and then 2 minutes later, she got pulled out for Stephanie Talbot. And I thought she gave us a great spark to begin the game. So I was a little confused there. And it almost just feels like we're just playing a bunch of players and just throwing them out there. And I don't know if that's tanking. I mean, I don't know if that's just, development opportunities, but like just throwing Zaya Cook in the middle of the game in the third quarter was a little odd. It just doesn't seem like they really care about winning games, which to me translates into tanking. So I don't know. It just felt as though I'm like, we clearly can compete. Rakia had a very solid game. Hamby had a very solid game. De'Erica, 21 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, and 4 steals on 9 for 15 shooting. So good to see her have an efficient 20-plus point game. And then Rakia, 17 points, 6 boards, 3 assists, 3 blocks. Her help defense and her overall defense, it has really come a long way, just knowing where to be, active off the ball, and then taking a little bit more pride one-on-one as well. So you just see the confidence defensively, the understanding of what's needed at that level from Rakia. She was 5 for 13, 5 for 9 from 2, but 0 for 4 from 3 in the game, but was able to get to the line 7 times and made all of them. But overall, 92-78 loss. First and fourth quarters were the ones that were solid for the Sparks. And my last stat on the game is that the starting lineup actually only lost by 2 points. It was really the bench and the fact that I guess our rotations were a little wacky, started turning the ball over a lot. And yeah, they're just a team that their season's actually still relevant, whereas ours is kind of in the gutter.
Yeah, I think you made some great points there about the rotations. I've been asking for at least, kick the tires on Zaya Cook and see what she can do, but not like this. Not in the middle of, like, in the rotation. The moments he's chosen to put Zaya Cook, I'm like, this feels like the worst of both. It's not helping her development, and it's not helping the team. So what are we doing here? I'll get into some of the other lineups I saw tonight. This is, obviously being recorded after the second Connecticut Sun game, the final game we're going to talk about tonight. But there was definitely some questions there where, again, teams, I think one thing about tanking in both the NBA and WNBA is, of course, players, they don't do anything. They're not like missing shots. The way you tank, interestingly, is by sitting certain players and just making it harder for you to win regardless. And some of these rotations, like you mentioned, Dime, kind of got me like raised eyebrow. Like, that doesn't feel like a I'm trying to win move, right? And I think you mentioned the Talbot coming in. I thought the same thing. I'm like, I'm not a big Talbot fan in general. I think she's a good, smart piece, but just not impactful enough for what this team needs. I think she'd be great, like, on other, kind of situations. And again, the Zaya Cook thing, like, just the way where the minutes were decided was just kind of suspect. And I mean, I think the Sky, even if you're giving your best, they're probably still a little bit better, especially in this game where, like, Angel Reese was fine and playing, but you didn't do yourself any favors with some of these decisions. And I think that all of it combined just kind of made it, a rough go. So yeah, tough loss. I don't think anyone was surprised by it, but it still made it tough. And yeah, I mean, the schedule for the Sparks has not been easy. I mean, these are all playoff games. Like, everyone's a playoff caliber team that they're playing. It just kind of ended up that way. I think it wasn't like, by design or anything. It's just, there's a lot of good teams in the league, and it just kind of stinks that they're ending the season with like tough game after tough game. It's like, man, can you throw a couple, can we play the Mystics a couple times? That'd be kind of nice, but that's not how, the playoff, the scheduling gods kind of drew it up. So Sparks lost that one. And then on Sunday, they played the Sun. This is one of, two games. They played two games against the Sun. This is the first one, lost 79-67. This one was interesting because I had less confidence that they were going to win this game just because of how good the Sun are. But to their credit, the Sparks like really stepped up. I think they played a pretty good game overall. And it just got away from them there, in that fourth quarter, obviously. Just, again, just not. It's just so many things I didn't like about that fourth quarter. I didn't like the defense. I didn't like the rotations. I think that the shot selection was awful, and kind of everything just really, really fell apart. And they were clinging on at that point anyway. You could feel, the Sun kind of making some runs in that third quarter where it felt like, let's see what's going to happen here. Can they really hang on? And then, man, they just blew the doors out them in that fourth. And that's not the last time or the first time that we're going to see that. I think this year even, but a fourth quarter like that, to me, that's not even the Sun are an incredible team and they have the players to do that. But it felt more like you're not being serious about this. And if you do that against a team that good, they're going to make you pay. And that was kind of my biggest takeaway there from that game. Dime, what did you see in the first matchup of the Sparks against the Sun?
Well, we were hitting our threes to begin the game. This was actually a rare game where we shot well from three, 7 for 14 on the night. I mean, it's crazy, Ed, when we really compete with these very good teams for several quarters, and then the fourth quarter comes around and then the quality starts to show. I don't know if it's one of those situations where, kind of like a Denver Lakers or a Cavs Pistons 2016, where
all right.
where teams just know that they have us where they want us, and in the fourth quarter they can turn up the Jets because they just have better players, simply. And yeah, we were playing very well. Rakia was hooping. And I just love seeing the comfort level that she's starting to reach, whether it be pick and roll. And just now when Rakia is backing down, especially on the right-hand side, and she gets in that middle of the paint, like 6 feet away, and turns over that right shoulder for that one-legged fade, when she's in the middle of the paint, I think she's going to make it every time. It's starting to become like I see it with, with Kawhi, is when he gets 12 feet and in, and he's back to basket, it's usually a bucket. He's effective at getting that shot off. And once it's off, it's like a layup. Rakia has that's even more so than Kawhi, I'd say, relative to her league, that ability to see over the top of her defender. And I think what hurt in the fourth was you saw a little bit of Dewana Bonner guarding Rakia, and that length, she can match it. You know what I'm saying? She's even taller, longer. But Alyssa Thomas is on ball pressure. She forced like 2 turnovers where she was just like, give me that. And it was devastating. 24-9 though in the fourth quarter, Edwin. Like, we really got shut down. We scored 22 points in the second half.
Yeah.
So those offensive struggles have been there all year. We've been banged up. We have a lack of shot creation, a lack of great guard play. But even when we don't have that going, we don't throw the ball to Rakia and force feed her as a hub enough in those moments. And again, we've talked about, is it because she's a rookie? Is it because the players don't trust her? But I will say this, and I think I saw this more so in tonight's game. The aggression level from Rakia demanding the ball is starting to come, and that's amazing.
Yeah, no, I agree. We'll segue into that second game, but yes, I'm starting to see that, especially on the wings. Not as much posting up. I don't feel like that's something that she calls for the ball in post-ups. I think when there's actions that are like that, she'll do it. But on the wings, I'm seeing her being a lot more aggressive. Well, I saw her take some shots.
Tonight she was asking for the ball in the post.
Yeah, I agree. But I still think she was a little bit more aggressive on the three, especially in transition. I saw that a lot more tonight. I have to look at the stats. I'll look at them in a second. But I saw a quicker trigger, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, there we go. That's we'll take that. Especially again, the team's losing games. Go out there and do something, make it happen. And that's been the silverest of linings from all these losses is the transition she's had post Olympic break. She's just been like probably the second best rookie besides Caitlin Clark. I think it's pretty clear. And on a night to night, she's putting up some really, really good numbers, and she's just getting so comfortable. And yeah, this one was just, a stinker because of that fourth quarter. It just kind of soured what was a decent, pretty solid 3 quarters where it was, very close going into the fourth. You thought, oh, maybe we'll shock them. The Sparks have had some really shocking wins, the Aces win, the Liberty win, right? Like this could have been one of those. And instead it's like, oh yeah, that fourth quarter was a stinker. And then, the takeaway is just kind of like, oh, well, the Sun are better. And he's like, yes, they were better, but with under 10 minutes to go, you felt like you had a really good shot at winning. And that fourth quarter just kind of destroyed all the kind of good that came out of that game. And that's kind of disappointing. I'm curious how the players feel at this point. The season's over, they're eliminated, and obviously things are done. Yeah, I'm just very curious if they've kind of gotten exhausted at this point, or they just feel, look, it's like 4 games left, 3 games left, like let's just let's wrap it up and be done with it. I'm not really getting the sense of that from their play, but it's got to be tough, like losing every time and maybe frustrated with of course players are frustrated about this rotation, this spot, whatever, small things. Every team in every professional league goes through that, but it's got to be a tough thing. And we're going to go into the third and final one here. We have again Sparks Sun again, and this one was not close really ever time. It was 86-66. Sparks lost. The Los Angeles came out to a decent start. I was like, oh, okay, but I was definitely, because of how the season's gone, I'm like, I'm not anywhere near being like, okay. I was just like, all right, they're up after 1, cool. And then what happened? Second quarter, 9-0 run by Connecticut, take the lead. They never look back, and they end up dominating. By midway through the third, I was like, okay, there's no like fake run gonna happen. Like this is done. And the lineup that really was like, I wanted to just take my bag and go home was he did a 3-guard lineup, Dime, with Dangerfield, Sims, and Cook. And I'm like, I'm not sure when we've seen this. And this is definitely not. You only go small in any league because you think you have the advantage because of how skilled those smalls are. And no disrespect to the Sims Dangerfield Cook combo, but there's no way you could think of that and be like, yeah, this one's gonna, 2 hardship players and a 2-year sophomore that has only played a handful of minutes. Like, yeah, they're gonna unlock something against the ginormous Sun. And of course, it didn't really work too well. And they already were down, but I'm like, okay, if you're putting this lineup out, like at this point, you're almost trolling us at this point. What's going on? So that's when I was like, okay, let's wrap this up. And yeah, they lost the game. Wasn't close, 20-point blowout. You did get a good Azrae game. She had 17 rebounds, but Dime, when she blew that layup, I don't even know how she blew that layup. I don't know if you remember, but in the fourth quarter, she stole the ball, fast break, one all by herself, and she just blew it. I don't know if she was worried someone was behind her, if she heard footsteps, but I was like, how did you blow this layup? Like it was off when I was like, that's just the season, right? Like good moment followed by like, what the heck was that? So I have a lot more to say about the game, but I want to keep it there and give you a chance. So Dime, you just came fresh off, watching it right before the recording. What was your takeaway of this defeat against Connecticut?
Well, my thoughts were they're just so much bigger and stronger too. Like Bree Jones and Alyssa Thomas, they wanted to impose their will in the interior.
Anytime they wanted to, they're like, here's the point.
Yeah, I mean, she was just dominant. Bree Jones, how many did she have? 19 points, 8 rebounds. Carrington's defense is just, I mean, I don't know. If she's not first team all defense, there's a huge problem with who's voting. I can't see any, I'm serious. I can't see any case for someone that's been better on the perimeter than her. Like Benijah Laney Hamilton was injured for a while. She was a good one, but nah, like Carrington's been incredible. Rakia, very solid game. Azrae, you mentioned solid game, but Rakia, solid game again. I loved how aggressive she was trying to post up. 16 points on 7 for 11 shooting. So you talk about the efficiency, man, and it feels like she can do so much more. Like we're starting to see the potential there, the talent there. Like we've got a super talented player here, and I think she's going to be better than Angel Reese. I'm dead serious. I think she will be. She's just so skilled. And then, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I think she's going to be better than Caitlin or anything, but I think she's going to be our best. She might be our best player by next year. She might be. I know Cam Brink is amazing. I do think she's just such a talent there. Like Edwin, when she gets empowered as a go-to option, she's going to be efficient. She's going to get buckets, but her passing, I'm starting to see the glimpses of just what I think is
there was a really nice pocket pass, shovel pass she made to Hamby in third quarter.
When she was double teaming the post, you started to see.
She flipped it. Yeah,
telling you that's it's like a preview of the future. The double teams are coming. They're starting to see how effective she can be. I think her next step is obviously to get a more consistent 3 ball. But how are you going to break down taller defenders? When they put the the Stewies of the world and the Dewana Bonners and those kinds of players with length, how are you going to score on them when you're not just posting up and shooting over the top? So
Yeah.
that's that. But also, yeah, the Marina Mabrey 3-point convention, that was crazy. And that gives them a level of shooting that they didn't really have before. Now, when you
Why they
blitz,
traded for her.
that's what I'm saying. Now, when you blitz Mabrey on the pick and roll because her shooting is so good, you get Alyssa Thomas on the short roll, and she's such a great decision maker. I mean, let me ask you this. Where do you rank Alyssa Thomas amongst the WNBA hierarchy right now? Because her impact on games, she's like a more skilled Draymond Green.
So I, for entertainment purposes, have been working on my first team, second team kind of stuff. And I might have her first team, Alyssa Thomas. So, and I probably have her no lower than second team, which means I think she's a top 10 player in the league. Um, so that's kind of where I have her. I think the only ones I definitely have above her are like Asia, Fee, probably Brianna. And then I have to think about, how, like you said, how high can she go? So I think I might have her between in that 4 to 10 ranges. I think where I have her. Dime, I throw it back to you. Where do you think you have her in the league?
Asia Wilson, number 1.
Agreed.
Stewie number. I'm not really just talking about like all WNBA team. I'm just saying like best player, whatever you consider that, whatever your criteria is.
Oh yeah, so yeah, I would say she's probably she's in that top 5, worst top 10. I can't go lower than top 10.
Definitely agree with that. I'd say Stewie second, Nafisa Collier third, and then that's when it starts getting tricky. Like I think Alyssa Thomas might be fourth. I mean, it's because people are going to obviously say Caitlin Clark. Is Caitlin Clark better than Alyssa Thomas already? Because if you consider two ways, I don't think so. So,
do you consider both aspects of the game when thinking about the game time?
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Caitlin Clark's offense though is pretty amazing. She's like she's a one woman shot creator. I don't know, is it one man shot? I mean, she can just create shots for the whole team, but with her presence on the floor, just give her some shooters, she can get you a good shot. So I don't know. I don't know if Caitlin Clark's top 5 yet, but she's already.
I don't think I have her top 5. I don't think so.
The fact that she's knocking on the door though already, right? It just shows how amazing she is. But like, I don't know who I'd go with next. You got the Jewel Lloyd, the Jackie Youngs, the Sabrina. Sabrina's been so great this year.
Copper.
Kalia Copper's fantastic.
Gumake is really good.
Jonquel Jones. Nneka, of course. But I think, honestly, Alyssa Thomas is fourth. I really think she's been that great this season.
Yeah, I that's why I said I can go that high, and I can't go lower than 10. And I'm definitely probably not going 10. It's just like that's the range. She can create you a good shot on a bad team. Yeah, creating a good shot on a bad team is impressive because usually there's no good shots to be had because it's a bad team. So it's like if maybe you can get your own, but that's about it, right? How many times have we seen on men, women, whatever, bad team, someone scores 20 because someone has to. But can that person also create for the rest of the team? Probably not, right? So yeah, of course, Caitlin Clark is already an elite distributor, and once she gets a little more muscle and a little bit more strength, so she's not the reason she's fallen is because she's a little weak. Like she can just you can topple her if you really want to. When she gets a little stronger and a better center of gravity, and she can kind of play through that contact and like not get moved as much, it's going to be even more dangerous. Obviously, I'm not breaking news to be like Caitlin Clark's only going to get better after her rookie season, so she'll definitely get there. But yeah, right now I'll definitely put Alyssa Thomas over, and yeah, I can go probably as high as 4 with Alyssa and as low as 10, and that's already probably way too low. But yeah, that I think that, like you said, the interior was a problem for the Sparks tonight for sure. I think when it comes to Brink and Rikia, I still can't go that far because Brink was just so good. She's just so good as a defender. She might have been like, I was thinking, could she win Defensive Player of the Year as a rookie? Like that's the kind of stuff she was doing already. And again, she got robbed of, her whole season, right? She played maybe like 12 games or so. So we saw how much better Rikia got. Like we don't know how much better Brink was going to get on offensively and defensively. She was already so good. It sucks that we lost that. It seems like everything's going fine with her treatment. I expect her to be fully back and ready to go. First game of the season next year. So we're gonna see them both together, which is great. but that's why I'm a little hesitant on that. We just saw such a incredible baseline. Like those first couple weeks, Brink was actually the best rookie in the WNBA because at the beginning there's a lot of struggles for Clark being on that team and all that stuff, and Brink was like making game-saving blocks, and it was just wild already. And her biggest weakness was just the offensive bag was kind of rough, and she was even already having a few breakthroughs, a couple games where you're like, okay, she's looking for a shot, she's getting into it, and then of course she's out. So missed the rest of the season, missed her chance of getting the 3x3 gold, and being in the Olympics and all that stuff. But she'll be back, and then I can't wait. Those are going to be so much better conversations to have instead of like a team that's losing. We could talk about who's the best rookie, who's the best young player. Let's see. Only other thing about this game, I think. Oh yeah, Azri. I think I mentioned it briefly, but yeah, 17 rebounds. So she was stacking the boards. I mentioned it after that like smoked layup, but yeah, shout out to getting the rebounds. I mean that's it's always hard to dominate the glass like that, and she's not. I don't think people think of her like that, like a big who's cleaning up the floor. She's kind of a tweener and stuff like that. It's not really her forte, but she was killing it on that. So definitely credit on that. And the bench, we got Dangerfield took advantage of her moments. She had 11 points. Zaya Cook, I think, even though I didn't like the minutes where she's getting them, she showed a little something. 7 points, 3 for 5. I was like, okay, for me, I just want to see more of her, just so I can feel whatever the coaching staff feels, where that's where she needs to be. I feel like I just don't see enough to really, give a good comment on it. I do the weekly grades for the Sparks, and I think only one of the weeks I've been able to give one. I'm like, how can I grade a player who's averaging 4 minutes, like in garbage time? Like, I can't say you're failing because it's like, I don't know. I'm not, I'm not seeing enough to say you're having a good or bad week. So it's kind of rough. But games like today, where she got double-digit minutes, I'm like, okay, that's a little more run. Hopefully, I'm hoping at least that increases. But Dime, I heard Kurt Miller say something today that was really weird. I don't know if it's inspirational or delusional, but he said that I talked to him about, hey, how are you going to approach these games now that as a competitor you can't win a title? It's like a fact. You're eliminated. You still have 4 or 5 games to go. How are you going to approach that? And his answer was that they are essentially looking at this as like their playoffs is the end of the season, and they're looking at these games as like playoff games. And against the Sun, they have like a 2-game playoff series, game 1, game 2. And against the Storm, tomorrow they have game 1, and then they have game 2 on Sunday. So part of me was like, it's kind of cool that you're still like having that attitude. And part of me is like, are you fake losing series right now? And he's like, this is like our game 2. And he did acknowledge, he's like, I know it sounds crazy, but like, that's how I'm kind of approaching the competition. What do you think about that, Dime? Have you ever heard a team, who's eliminated talking about like a faux playoff series at the end of the regular season?
No, I never have. What? I've never heard it.
I feel like not me, but I've heard from other women that sometimes men have trouble communicating with there's a significant other they're trying to date, and they'll say all these words, and the response they get's like a 2-word sentence, and they're like, yo, open up, bro. And I felt that right there. I'm like, I laid it up, and you're just like, no. I'm like, want to expand on that? Comment on it? Can we have a conversation? Or okay, cool, moving on. Oh my god. So yeah, it's a weird thing. And yeah, the vibes in general have been, really low. Now we're getting to that point. Like luckily, the good thing about the WNBA season being so short is okay, we only gotta feel this for like 3-4 games. Versus like if this was a Detroit Pistons podcast, I don't know what we were gonna do for like 6 months when we're like, oh, it's over and the team is awful and we have so much to go, right? So for us, hey, couple games is going to be like this. It's going to be a little rough. During this losing streak on Sunday, they actually officially have reached the point where they will have the best odds for the number 1 pick. So the losing still helps because you can increase your chances, but no one can have a better chance than the Sparks of getting number 1 pick. And in fact, they're guaranteed top 3. They can't even get 4th. They're guaranteed top 3. And now it's just a matter of, essentially, putting little decimal point percentages better to, raise the gap, I believe, between them and Washington. Washington's got the second best chances, so they can kind of create more separation there. But either way, they got it. They're gonna have the best chance. And Dime, that December draft is gonna be huge, man. It's gonna be someone's franchise is gonna turn around with the chance to draft Page, and obviously we're hoping it's gonna be LA, and they have the best opportunity to. They got all the numbers going their way. It's just a matter of, is it going to go that way? So it happened with Fever. They had the best odds for Caitlin Clark. They got her. So, but as you know, it is an odds-based thing, and we've seen plenty of times where it's like, what, a 5% team got her. Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, it's an odd, So we'll see. So the only good news about these losses at this point, the way I feel, is that at least we're getting better odds, and we're getting to see more of Rakia Jackson. It's been such a joy seeing. I did not expect her to grow this much in season. It was really incredible. I maybe next year, but definitely not like post-Olympic break. It's been spectacular. And at this point, it's been so consistent that it's not a fluke. It's not a hot week. It's like it's been, weeks now. And again, they're playing teams that are the Sun want to win these games. They're trying to get the best spot they can, and they did not take their foot off the gas at all. So if she's still getting those kind of buckets against playoff teams that are, trying to punch us in the mouth and go home with a W, then that's definitely something important. So happy about that, but just more losses. And at this point in time, I have to ask the negative question. I was going to tweet it out earlier, but I just forgot. I'll do it when we get off the pod here. We have, let me just double check the numbers here. We have 4 games left. How many wins do the Sparks get in those 4 games? It's Storm, Mercury, Lynx.
I don't think we're getting another win this season.
Wow. I think they get 1 to 2. I think where the path is 1 against the Storm. I think you're just the law of averages. I think they can get 1, and I think the Mercury have been a little disappointing recently, and they're kind of slipping a little. And I feel like you can get them. I think you can get them. And the only way the Lynx game happens, which that's not one of the ones I'm picking, but the only way the Lynx game happens is if maybe, since it's the last game of the season, maybe they have nothing to play for, their spot's secure, and they might say, look, Fee's gonna rest, or we're not gonna play as much because we can't improve or hurt our chances, and no one's gonna be mad that we're losing a game to the Sparks. This game's not worth anything. You might sneak in a cheap win at the end because the team has bigger goals that are more important than a mid-September win when their spot's secure. So I'm gonna be optimistic and say 1 to 2. It would not shock me at all if you are right and they go 0-4. But man, that would be rough. I think that would be like just 1 win since the Olympic break, which would be wild. But I mean, we've seen the season they've had, and they have had injuries. I don't want to use injuries as excuses. I know you don't either. It's annoying, but it's rough when, Leja's out, Lexi's out, Brink's out for the season. Like, especially on the guard play, it's really hurted. McDonald only came back for 1 game, out again. So it's been tough, but we'll see. They'll have a few more games, and we'll do a more thorough preview in just a few minutes on those games, so what time they are and what the process for us in the next podcast is going to be, because it's just on the edge of when we normally record and stuff. So we're going to tinker with that to make sure we can just kind of recap those final games and the end of the season there. All right, so moving on, only have one Lakers thing I want to kind of touch on before we go to the rest of the Spark schedule for the season now, is the Lakers today announced that they're going to have a commemorative patch for Jerry West on all jerseys in the 24-25 season. They also today announced in that same press release some commemorative nights, some like kind of special nights that are going to be on the schedule. And I'll go into a little bit of them in a moment, but the one I want to highlight right now is October 22nd. That's going to be Jerry West night, when the Lakers play the Minnesota Timberwolves, and not all fans, because that can be limited, but fans will be getting a Jerry West 44 commemorative jersey. So I'm sure it's probably supplies last 10,000, whatever. We'll get details on that when that happens, but they will be giving out those jerseys. And I just want to give you a moment to talk about it. Have you seen the images of what the patch looks like? Do you like the idea? What are your thoughts here about the Lakers commemorating Jerry West now that he's gone, and commemorating him with a patch for the rest of the season?
I think it's the bare minimum that they can do. The Celtics have commemorated all their recently passing legends. It's been very sad. It feels like we've been losing a great Celtic every year. Now, obviously, we've lost one of the greatest players, greatest Lakers ever. I mean, as far as the Jerry West Laker thing, I mean, yeah, they better be doing Jerry West night. Like, this is the guy that they, with Jeannie Buss and Jerry West did not end on good terms, and he was banned from games and stuff like that because he was caught calling the organization a shit show at the time and what was going on then. And it was just a disgusting from the outside thing. I mean, I had to defend Jerry West against Laker fans on social media, discrediting him, talking about, he only won one ring. Like, this just, and there's the winning time depiction. I just think that Jerry West toward the end, just don't think as a basketball community, we treated him the right way. We celebrated him the right way. And I think that, business is business. Things happen between Jeannie and Jerry West, but I don't know. Obviously, you always wish that it could have been handled a little bit differently.
Yeah, for sure. I won't touch too much on that stuff because it's very nuanced. And yes, it's no secret that the relationship between Jerry West and Lakers was not good from both sides. I wouldn't say it was just the shit show comment. Obviously, that didn't help, but there's a lot of stuff before, a lot of stuff behind the scenes, some public, some not. But in general, it's safe to say they weren't friendly, right? Like, things weren't cool anymore. And it stinks that, again, that's why life's short, life's brief. Would they have been able to solve that in 5-10 years? I don't know, maybe, but we don't live in that world. We live in this one where it kind of ended sour, ended bad, and that's it. And I think that's right. Regardless of how you felt, even if you hate the guy, and I'm not saying they do, but let's just say they do, he still did incredible, tremendous things. Like, he put in the work to be honored regardless. He won the title. He only won one, but yes, he won. He still won that one, right? Only player to be named finals MVP in a losing performance, which was incredible. That's how good he was. 38 points average in that. I believe it was the 72 NBA Finals, and then as a front office person, as a general manager and all that, he was incredible. He was able to help construct. Part of that Showtime thing was him ranting, whatever, but he was there, helping make the moves and bringing the right people in to make sure they could build a dynasty and win the 5 titles in the 80s and bring us to the modern NBA. And then what he did the summer of 96 time, trading Vlade Divac, who at the time was like a star, like crazy to trade him for an 18-year-old kid. Wild, right? Barely a lottery pick, Kobe Bryant. And he traded for him. He knew what he was going to be. He traded for him. And not only that, he brought in Shaquille O'Neal that same summer, got him his money, and boom, started a new Lakers dynasty. That Lakers team, Kobe, Shaq, we all know it. They went on to be a dynasty, get the three-peat, and we haven't seen a three-peat since in the NBA. So that's how special that was. It hasn't happened. With all the super teams and stacking this, no one did what the Lakers did in the early 2000s. No one has done it since, and that was because Jerry West constructed it. Those are just facts. So those are the facts right there. So yeah, they're doing the right thing. This is much better. I also, again, I'm not going to say I'm more on the Lakers side, but I understand their perspective. But that statement they put out when he passed was like 3 sentences. That's a joke. Like, you can't do that. Come on, do more. You could just stick to the facts and do more. Like, come on. So I like that this is them definitely kind of righting a wrong and saying, look, we're going to give him a night. We're going to commemorate him in the jersey all year. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of video tributes and different things there. And his name's synonymous with the team, right? He's the logo. His statue's out there as well. His jersey hangs in the rafters and will always be up there as it should be. So yeah, hopefully this can just be kind of a nice celebration, a good moment, and we'll leave it at that. And then they have quite a few different events happening throughout the season. Obviously, before we talked about the Michael Cooper night, which is the night he's going to get his jersey retired. I'm pulling up the date here. That's going to be on January 13th against the San Antonio Spurs. Probably the only time I won't go to the press area during halftime, because I'm going to stay and watch this. Like, we got to check out that. There's going to be a girl dad night on February 27th when the Lakers face the Timberwolves. I think there's going to be like a giveaway for that too. And then the LGBTQ Pride on October 26th against Sacramento Kings. That one is it's the 5th annual the Lakers have done that. But what makes that one special to me is that it's the first time it's happening during the regular season. Normally, that's something that they do in preseason, which to me kind of a little bit diminishes it because I'm like, well, it's the preseason. Like, who's going to notice? I'm like, why isn't it just a regular season game? They fixed that this year. It's going to be a regular season game. I'm like, cool. Yeah, if you're going to give them the night, do it when people actually care, and it's a regular season game. It just makes sense. So they're doing that. Those are some of the fun things. Definitely looking forward to Cooper's retirement. Jersey retirement is going to be a special moment. Yeah, I haven't seen one of those like live like that in the stadium, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. And yeah, looking forward to the NBA season. Believe it or not, even though we're right in the heart of the WNBA season. Anything else you want to add to that, Dime? Or you want to go to the upcoming games?
I'm gonna hopefully be there for Coop's retirement because I've been pushing for it for many years. So
nice, yeah. I think a lot of people have been pushing for it. Again, it's an example of elite defense is worth the same praise as elite offense, and I think that he's an example of that. And everyone who's a Laker who won during those years always talks about, yeah, Coop was the reason we were able to get a lot of that done. So like, if we're in there, he should be in there. And yeah, it's going to be a great night. I'm looking forward to it very, very much. I think it's going to be awesome. All right, so I'm going to go through the rest of the games we have here. We already know Dimes run the table with losses, and my thing on the wins maybe coming with the Mercury game, maybe the Lynx. So I'm just going to kind of go through the dates here, the times, kind of give you everyone a good base of what's going on. So tomorrow/Wednesday. So if you don't listen to this the minute it comes out, you might miss this one because it's again back to backs this late too. That's rough. But Sparks against the Storm, 7 o'clock at Crypto. NBA TV, so nationally televised, so that'll be good. And again, Jewel Lloyd, Gold Mamba, it's going to be a tough one. NECA, so we'll see how that game progresses. But in the Storm are in that title contender kind of range, right? I don't think anyone's his favorites, but they're like that top 4 in the mix. So they're going to come in ready. And then on Sunday, so they have a nice little break from Wednesday to Sunday. They play the Storm again, but this time they'll be on the road. They'll be playing there at the matinee time, 3 o'clock West Coast. So it's going to be a little rough, but I'm glad they at least get, about 3 days off between, and they have to travel. So hopefully that might be something, a little bit of fresh legs. Same team again. Maybe you can learn from mistakes, or you snuck one in there. And then normally we record on Tuesdays, but Tuesday there will be the Sparks Mercury game at 7:30. That's one where I think they might win. That's going to be on CBS. So hopefully, they can at least get something here and not end the season on straight losses. And the final game of the season will be next Thursday, Sparks at Lynx. So that's a road game. So if you only have 2 more chances to see the Sparks live in Los Angeles, that's Wednesday and Tuesday. I will be present at both. So I'm going to make sure I'm at everything that I can possibly be at. And then probably, I don't know, Dime, but I'm guessing they're going to do media exit interviews Friday morning and just kind of put a bow on the season like that. That's most likely what they'll do, kind of like the NBA does, where they're trying to get out of there. So it's like, okay, we'll do it tomorrow, and then goodbye. So I'm guessing they'll do that. So we'll work out, obviously, when we're going to record our pod. I think it's probably better if we wait till maybe we'll do it the following week when everything's clear and all the media availability is done, and we can just put a bow on it. And then we can have a big one. We'll recap some of the games. We'll play that by ear, and then we'll give out awards, wrap it up. And I don't know, maybe we'll do a little bit of WNBA playoff preview. That could be interesting, right?
I'm down.
Yeah, we could do a playoff preview, do some playoff predictions, and then obviously by then it's the closest thing to a lull we have, because that'll be around the 20th or so, and we don't know the dates when the Lakers and Clippers will do media day, but it's got to be coming up because they got games in early October. So I'm guessing it's going to be, first couple of days of October, for the last couple of days of September, but we'll have a little bit of a gap there. So we'll do a little bit of WNBA coverage, and then we'll also, maybe we'll do some previews of some players. I'm sure you're doing a lot of previews for that kind of things for Locked On Clippers, so we can kind of do a combo here. And maybe we can we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll do Laker guards, Clipper guards, Laker bigs, that kind of thing. Lakers bench, Clipper bench. That might be some fun stuff. And yeah, we'll take it from there. So yes, next time you'll talk to us, we'll not record at regular time next week. We'll wait till the season's over, and then we'll do one big one. So that's how we're going to approach the end of the Spark season. That's the end of episode 43 of Basketball on Figueroa. I'm Edwin Garcia. That's Darian Vaziri, aka Dime Dropper. And we out.
Make sure you tune in to some of my upcoming videos when I'm overseas, man. You guys got to check that out on this channel. It's going to be crazy. Just stay tuned.
Yeah, let's live vicariously through Dime, as I will as well.
Let's get it.